Just pretend like we're just talking to each other.
Okay.
Okay, now we're starting.
Joni.
Okay, we're live. Okay, all right. So welcome everybody to the Native Wellness Institute's Power Hour, brought to you by the Indian Collective. I'm so excited today. I have with me today two guests. I have Pearl Yellowman and Joni Winecoop, and hopefully Maria Kaluuya will be joining us soon. And I am just excited because today we're going to be talking about, as young women, well, I'm going to call us young women, but I guess as women, we are, all three of us, all four of us, all had kids when we decided to go back to school. Pearl may have already been, but today's all about talking about, what was it that motivated us to finish our degrees, to go back to school and, to balance our kids and our spouses and our work and, pull out, a million credits as we're going to school. And, honestly, it took me 25 years to finish my bachelor's. And, it was like, I thought I had conquered the world when I finally got that damn piece of paper. It was like, oh my God, I felt like it was hard. It was super hard. So I'm Lavina. So I'm going to pass it over to Pearl, and Pearl can introduce herself. And I think Maria joined. I can see her, but she'll jump on. So go ahead, Pearl, you can start, and then we'll pass it to Joni to introduce herself, and then Maria.
Okay, am I on?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Oh, okay, awesome. Well, yeah, Shay Pearl Yellowman and Shay Aro Tsena between Shlendok is a Flana Bashishin, Kobahanda Shiche Aro Hanagane the Chanel Aro Trasher Chinahala, Atashki Aro Nakit Ekedo Naslana Yashin, Oko the Nest Ashle. My name is Pearl Yellowman. I am from the Navajo Nation, Tuba City, Arizona, and I have three beautiful children, Mylan, Megan, and Michaela. So thank you for having me on the show today. Thank you.
Awesome, Pearl. All right, go ahead, Joni.
Hi, I'm Joni Winecoop. I'm a member of the Spokane Tribe of Indians. I'm also a descendant of the Colville Tribes, Lakes and Sandpoil bands. My Grant and I have 3 kids together, and I had custody of a great niece and great nephew.
Awesome. And I'm just trying to share it, like I share it to a million websites, so just to put a little bit of pressure on everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Maria, you can introduce yourself. Can you hear us?
Hi, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're freezing a little bit, but we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I apologize. My name is Maria Kaluuya. I am the daughter of Francis Kaluuya and Rain Balpione. I'm a Spokane tribal member. Also part Kalispell and Colville, Flathead. So I'm a little bit every territory around the Salish tribes. But I do have 5 children. A few on the side that I've taken in myself. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria. And so I lose track of how many kids I have, but I had one batch, Twy and Willie, then I jumped and had North Star, Unity, and Dolly. And then my husband has a couple kids. And so I think we have 7 altogether. And now I have grandkids. And I think some of you guys might have grandkids. Well, Pearl doesn't, but I have like a few grandkids too. So I am just super excited to have you guys here with us. And one of the reasons why I chose each of you individually is because all 3 of you inspire me. And I've watched your posts. I've watched, I watched Pearl as she went through and got her doctorate degree. I've seen Joni and she struggled with cancer. She, went back to school and she just seemed like she went super fast and we were going to school at the same time to get our bachelor's. And I think, Maria, you were in school at the same time. And so, you know, we all have, you know, went to school, and we had kids, and we had spouses, and we had families, and we had drama, and we had all these things trying to stop us. But you guys prevailed. And I wanted young people to hear your story, to hear, you know, what was it that motivated you to say, I can get my degree, I can do this. So Pearl, let's start with you. What was your motivation?
Thank you. All great questions, and good to meet the other ladies on the call as well. I actually was not the best student in high school, but I loved playing sports. And at the time, I thought that was my only way of getting off the reservation. So I left Navajo Nation to play volleyball and basketball. And I wanted to, for some reason, play at Fort Lewis College. I always thought natives went to Fort Lewis College or Haskell. And I was like, I want to go. So I tried. And so anyway, long story short, I did go to Montana to play. And I played in Montana, and then also met my husband when we got married, and we both went to Salish Kootenai College. So I'm a tribal college. I'm a product of tribal college, and I got my bachelor's degree at a tribal college, social work, and I had my kids at SKC. But I had instructors who were aunties and relatives, and they were like, bring in nephew or niece or my son and my baby daughter, bring them in. This is what a tribal college is for. It's to help get young people through college in a family setting. They cushioned everything. They didn't cushion, they challenged us, but the threat was low. And Leslie and I were able to finish college, and Leslie transferred on to the University of Montana. I waited a few years, and Mylan and Megan in tow followed me to the University of Montana, and I started graduate school there. I got a master's in education and a second master's in counseling. And then I went on for my doctorate. But I think culturally, I'll speak to the cultural side. Culturally, in Navajo, they say ego means like it's up to you to get it done. And there would be times where I'd be so homesick, and my mom would say, come on home, we'll cook, we'll have food for you when you get home. And I would pack my kids up, and we would leave Missoula about 5 in the evening, and I would drive all night. I would get here the next day at 8 in the morning, and my family would have food and fry bread, and that's called dochi, and all our traditional food. And my mom would have prayers. And then it got really hard when I was completing my dissertation. And there were times when I wanted to not finish. I want to just end there and not complete. And one time my mom said, I called and I said, can I come home? This is really hard. I don't want to, I don't think I can finish. I want to come home and I want to come back. And she said, no, don't come home. And don't come home until you finish. And I was a little bit hurt, and I was like, really? And she was like, don't come home until you. So I really had to dig deep, and I had to finish. And I was thankful I had my family support. The one thing about finishing my doctoral level work is I don't feel like I've quite benefited from that just yet, but my kids have, because for me it just started more work for me. I didn't get me to a place where I'm comfortable and I can chill and relax. It just tripled the work. But my kids have a better life, and my grandkids will definitely have the benefits. And I don't quite have the benefits of my education, but I know my grandkids will. And that in Navajo, they say, means like your offspring will live good into the future. And I feel that's true.
Awesome. Thanks, Pearl. That's great. And so Joni, do you want to share a little bit about your journey? Okay, Joni, we can't hear you. Are you on mute? You're on mute. Okay, it's okay.
Like Pearl, I graduated high school. I graduated in 1994, valedictorian in my class. I had scholarship offers for cross country and basketball, but I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. And so I went to college locally at Eastern Washington University, and my initial degree was in biochemistry. And I went through all of the classes for biology, chemistry, everything to do with it. And then I decided, you know what, I just need to raise my daughter. So it was just her and I for quite some time. I moved from there to construction. I worked construction quite a few years. And then I went through, a few jobs here and there, but I suffered probably about 24 years worth of severe depression. I hated everything about myself, the way I looked. I hated my voice, everything you can imagine. I found that fault in me. Through that time, I dealt with a lot of alcoholism. It was pretty bad. If I wasn't drinking every day, it was every other day. And it was not only destroying me, but it was destroying my kids and my relationship with my spouse. So what made me quit that was going, one 4th of July, 3 years ago, my son wouldn't ride with me. He wouldn't get in the truck because I had been drinking. And, that was that. That was the last day I drank any alcohol. On the 14th of that same year, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I think at that time, I realized, life's short and I need to, excuse my language, but I need to get my shit together for my kids. They're watching me, and, statistically, parents who graduate from college, their kids will too. So I went back to school, was hired as our tribe's tribal employment rights director. And throughout the past three years, I've obtained my EMT certification, my Bachelor of Arts in Communications Public Relations. I minored in Indian Studies. I was appointed to the Spokane Indian Housing Board of Commissioners as an alternate. I've also obtained my master's in business administration. I was also inducted into the National Society of Leadership and Success, Alpha Sigma Pi. And this fall, I start my master's in public administration at EWU. I kind of killing time waiting for my oldest daughter to finish her MSW at University of Chicago. And after that, we're going to do our doctorates together. What it'll be in, we don't know, but we're going to do it together. And that's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
Wow. Thank you, Joni. That's very powerful. And, that's a huge accomplishment that you've done. And you can see how, like Pearl said, your children are benefiting from that decision that you made. And Tori is a beautiful example. And that's the same reason why I just said, if I don't get my damn degree, my kids are never going to feel like it's important. If mom can't do it, they can't do it, so that was this, it's like I have to get that piece of paper, like, even if it kills me, like I got to get that thing. It's hard when you have little kids, and you're trying to work a full-time job and you're trying to deal with drama at work, and it's just like, man, it was hard, but it's awesome. It's so awesome. So I'm going to pass it on to Maria. And Maria, you can go ahead and share your story.
Boy, where to start? Geez, after years of raising my kids and going through so many different jobs and so many ups and downs, the Native lifestyle and reservation life has really impacted our youth and the kids, and including myself. But it wasn't until, I think, 2008 when I was in and out of college constantly with my kids growing up. I had 5, so it was a handful, and dealing with everything else around reservation life, it was hectic. So it wasn't until 2008 when I decided to finally put my foot down, because I had these sets of eyes staring at me all the time, wondering what our next move was, what mom's next job. So when I started in the planning and economic development department, it made me realize that there was so much more work to be done. And going through those years of getting my bachelor's, it was when my grandma started getting really, really elderly and started becoming, she was getting ready to cross. So visiting her in the hospital, basically her last words to me was, you have so much more work to do for our family and our people. So, just continue working hard. So I took those words home with me and continued my master's, and just, stayed working. Since then, I've sit on the Tarot Commission for the tribe. I have got on the education committee for the tribe. So there is so much more work for our youth and our people, not only them, but our elders. We got to take care of each other and help the economic growth within, our own communities, because if we don't do that, then we're not really going to be able to prosper and help others prosper. So with my story, I share with the younger generation all the time, because it's so important that education, it's vital, and it's the foundation to who we are going to grow into as people. So with that, I did talk it over with my youngest son, who just graduated as a senior. And I took a break from my master's program into my doctor's because of the time it has taken away from him throughout junior high. And I didn't realize how much that impacted our children, of studying late hours, being cranky and grumpy, trying to get your assignments done. And it took a lot away. So I took a step back, and just recently, when he was preparing for his high school graduation, that's when I applied for my doctoral program. And I just got news that I got accepted last week. So it's pretty exciting, but I'm pretty scared and nervous at the same time. But I'm looking forward to a new step and a new journey to help everyone out. And the work doesn't stop here. Like Pearl said, the work does not stop. It continues. And I hope to be able to show the impact in our youth and my grandchildren, who I have 2, and I'm waiting for more. But they're not helping me out any, so hopefully soon.
I know. Well, and it's exciting when we have our grandchildren to just motivate us and push us, and I think for all of us, that's what happens when we had our children. It's just like, man, when you have that little life and you have to you know, you have to think, how am I going to make this life better than the life that I had? You know, and I know that all of us are around the same age, and, you know, we all lived pretty hard lives and grew up in a time when, you know, parents drank all the time and people partied all the time, and, you know, but we didn't want that kind of a life, you know, for our kids. And, you know, so we all had to make changes so that our kids would have a better life. And even sometimes when we make those changes, you know, our kids will grow up and they might not make the right choices. And, you know, but we, as parents, we can only do our best. And, you know, I just, you know, that's why, you know, I think, you know, going back, I know Pearl had to jump off, and she's, you know, she has a lot going on in her world right now with the COVID thing going on. But Joni, what was, you know, what are the things that you did to help you to deal with your depression? Like what was it that kind of helped you through that?
Honestly, a lot of it was my mom and Tori, talking me through every day, just making sure I knew, you know, who I was, where I came from, and how important I was to everybody. That's really what helped me through it all. And then one day I just woke up and I thought, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? You know, and I thank God every day Tori didn't follow in my footsteps, you know, in my early life. She could have taken it and went a totally different direction, but she didn't, you know, and I pray my two youngest do the same. Even my niece and nephew that I had custody of, same for them. And everybody in my family and community. It's tough. But if you have someone there supporting you constantly, checking on you constantly, you know, when I first started going through it, I know Maria was there for me when I very first, it started hitting me hard, and she kept me busy, and just people like that in your life, interacting and making sure you're okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, and I think it's hard for people to comprehend that, you know, because on the outside, both of you are so beautiful, but when you're in your own head, in your own mind, you don't see what other people see. Like, you don't see, you know, that you're a beautiful person. And so I think some people just, you know, they think, oh yeah, they're just fine. They're all, you know, and I think one of our coping mechanisms is always to just pretend like we're okay, like, so that everybody else is okay. We pretend we're okay and we're strong and we hold it together and we don't show weakness, and we show the world that we got it under control, you know, so that, you know, but we're just, because we have to, we don't have a choice to be weak. We don't have a choice to drop the ball. We have to keep 50 balls going at once, you know, because that's what being a mom is about. Like, we can multitask, you know. A lot of dads can't focus on more than one thing, right? So as moms, we just are blessed to be able to, you know, do 10 things at once, and then and still get an A+ on that paper, you know. So yeah, so, you know, that's crazy, you know, and staying up all night, you know, studying and you know, just like, I know at one point I was taking 18 credits and working full time, and, you know, having babies and grandbabies and a million people in our house, trying to take care of everybody and cook and clean. And, you know, thankfully I had help too, you know, with my husband, but you know, it's hard work. And you guys both took in other kids, you know. That's our way, right? That's our Indian way. And we all have our parents who supported us and loved us and pushed us, you know. So who was the person in your life, Maria, that really helped you push through?
I couldn't say there was just one. I had a lot of support. I had a lot of help, but at the same time, I had to, you know, be that crutch for them too. But if it wasn't for my mom, and my dad's. I'm blessed with two, and it takes two to raise me, and they're still keeping me under control. So without both of them, they're awesome, and they all get along so well. I wouldn't be anywhere in this life today without them. And they've always continued pushing me. They've always just called to check up on me, or in the middle of a deadline, they would be, okay, just calm down, get back in your head and focus, and you can do this. They were my biggest cheerleaders. And so without them, I don't think I could have accomplished anything. And then there's Sherry, of course. He was a big help constantly. He was always there, helping me, keep somewhat. He's always in the kitchen. He's a great cook. So when times got tough, he really stepped up to the plate and helped us out. So
yeah, that's awesome. And that's what I mean. Like, so what did you guys do, like, to balance all of that? Like, what do you, and you're, obviously you're continuing on, Joni, you're continuing on. So what can you tell people, like, how do you balance everything?
I learned a lot with interacting with the Easterns chapter of the NSLS program. My week is basically mapped out for me. I have a schedule that I stick by. I work hard to stick by it. From the time I wake up to work throughout the day, full-time work, and then going home and doing the normal mom spouse things for cooking, laundry, whatever it may be, getting everybody to bed, and most nights staying up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning to do my work. So I didn't take any time away from them, because in my mind, I think I should have done this years ago, and I don't want them to, suffer not having mom around, because I don't know. In a way, I guess I felt like I was being selfish. So I just hold off and start doing homework at 10 o'clock at night. And my world revolved around what they did, from their sports to schoolwork to whatever it may be. But yeah, in a nutshell, everything's planned out every day. If it's not on my phone, I'm kind of lost. So.
Well, and I noticed that too. I noticed like when on your, because I just watch everybody through Facebook, but it's like you guys got basketball, you guys got like, thank God my kids don't even like sports. Otherwise I'd be screwed. But your kids are very active, and so just trying to like stay on top of like all their sports. And then Joni, were you online, or were you driving into Eastern?
Both. So I did night classes and then did online for the past four years or so.
Yeah. So see, driving that's like a hour and a half drive almost.
I learned to do a lot of homework. I downloaded quite a bit of apps on my phone. So while I'm sitting at my kids' practices, I sit there and do homework from my phone. The easier stuff, the harder stuff has to wait, but yeah.
Well, and Maria, did you do a lot of your school driving from Wellpinit to Spokane or somewhere?
In my early days, I did. I went to the community college. That's where I got my AA, and then after that, I tried Eastern, but the schedule got too hectic, so I went full online. And that was really hard getting used to virtually, because if I'm not on a set schedule, their schedules were open. I mean, you just checked in 3-4 times and you did discussion questions, you had group meetings. So I had to learn a lot and I would have to drive places for good internet service. And out here, we didn't really have it. So I was still traveling, and I was in the middle of the gap a couple times trying to submit these tests last minute, and it was crazy. But I agree with Joni. And after your kids went to bed, that's when you brought out your homework, and you were up until, there was nights I stayed up doing homework until like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when Jerry was getting up to go to work. And he would be like, "Are you still awake?" Yes. So he would be off to work, and then I would get a couple hours sleep and have to go to work the next day. So it was crazy, but to find the balance, it was just to take those few minutes a day, 10 to 15 minutes a day for me. And if I didn't do that, then, it made things harder. But just to take those few moments out of the day for yourself, a quick walk or something, I probably would have just really totally lost my mind.
Yeah, I sat in my car more times than I can count, just so I could breathe a few minutes before walking in the house or my office.
Well, and I can't even imagine. I mean, both of you guys are from Wellpinit, and all I remember at Wellpinit is at one point I jumped up on an RV and I'm like holding my phone up trying to get service. I mean, like, it's like, it's crazy that you guys managed to get through school with, like internet, but that just shows that you guys were determined. You were like, one way or another, you're gonna get through this and get your degree, which I just think is so awesome. And that's why I just have seen so many more of young and older women going back to school and getting their degrees and going on for not just a bachelor's, but a master's and a doctorate. And I mean, for me, that's exciting. Like, that's saying that our people are getting healed and we're getting better, because now we see beyond just what's right in front of us. Like, we're looking to the future to say, how can we lift our people out of that darkness, out of that craziness? How can we lift our people out? And and that's why I wanted you guys to be on with me today, because I mean, I see you guys as young warriors, as women warriors, and more of our women need to follow in your steps, to say, you can have a family. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes in our lives, but it's okay. Dust yourself off, get up and keep going. Because our future is depending on your decisions. And so you guys have just done a phenomenal job at doing that and balancing all of your school. And I mean, and one thing that I think is better for us, like, because we went to school back in the day when we barely had computers, and we were typing. We still learned cursive, right? Like, that seemed like a million years ago. But now, like, when I was going to school, I had 2 computer screens, right? So I could have my textbook up on one screen, and then I could be doing the test on another screen. And I was like, man, this is easy. Like, I can say, hey Siri, what's this? And Siri will answer me. I mean, it's like technology.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it?
Siri's already trying to help me out. It's just, like, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, technology today is just so different. And that's what I loved about going back to school, was that I could like use all of that to my benefit. And I thought it was amazing, because my sister Debbie, she was the first one. Her and Wade went back to school, finally got their bachelor's, and that was what kind of motivated me to be like, all right, if Debbie can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? So how many of you have you guys like had people come up to you and say, man, you're like you inspired me? Like do you guys have any stories like that?
Not really personally for me. For me, it's more of Tori, people coming up to me and talking to me about her and everything she's accomplished at the age of 25. I mean, she's really amazing. So yeah, no, I could see why they would focus more on her. But I also, yeah, I want to add too, you know, what a lot of what fueled my fire in completing my degrees and continuing forward is, you know, one time I was told, you're too old. What are you doing? You know, you're too old to go to college. It's kind of embarrassing, you know? So that I took that and I'm like, nope, I'm not too old and I'm going to do this and nobody is stopping me. So,
and that's sometimes, you know what, Joni, that's what it takes, right? It takes for somebody to tell us you can't do it. And that's exactly like, I wanted to be the director of our wellness center, but I didn't have that piece of paper. And so it was like we're going to give you a chance, but you can't like stay the director unless you get your degree. And so that's why I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it, because it was like, I was qualified. I felt qualified. I'd worked my whole life with young people and families and communities. And I was like, I can be the director, but it wasn't until I had that piece of paper that they said I could, right? Like, it was so frustrating. And so that's why we have to have it. We have to just suck it up and get it, you know? So, Maria, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, actually within our planning department, we brought in about, I'd say 3 or 4 different youth every summer for their youth program to work. So every summer we would get these projects together for them that they got to choose, of course, between economic development, community development, and similar projects like that. So when they come through and they're talking about education and college and their future, you know, we had them set some goals, and it's pretty amazing because the group of kids that I've been getting able to work with have grown. I've got to watch them grow from junior high to high school to graduating college. And one of them are my niece, and then one is a current grant writer in our own department. So when I get to share my stories of going to school and why I decided to go back, I share the actual reality of growing up on a reservation in the middle of nowhere where poverty has struck in homes and there's, you know, tons of people going everywhere. It just seems that, you know, was only pertinent to share, you know, where I come from and what happened, all the mistakes I made. I've never denied anything about, you know, the drugs and alcohol in my life, and be able to come back from that and go back to school and, you know, complete my bachelor's and master's and going for my doctor's. If I can do it, anybody can. And that's why I share the negativity and, you know, all the bad choices that I've made in life. But there's no shame in my game with growing, and I have a lot more to grow with. My story isn't done yet. And I feel that without the youth in our community and the people around me that support so many different projects, you know, we have a long ways to go. And I kind of want to help, you know, show that opportunity that, yes, it's there and we just need to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we're talking, I can see some of the comments, and you know, like Theda Newbreast is talking about Wilma Mankiller, and you know, she's an amazing woman warrior that got her education and became the first woman chairman of her nation, you know, and Delana Smith, who's one of my Miss Indian World Sisters, was the first in her family to get her doctorate degree. And Maria, I'm sure you're probably going to be the first in your family. Joni, you'll probably be the first in your family, you know, to get your doctorate. And Tori's going to be right there with you, which, I mean, I can only imagine, you know, when that day comes, when you guys stand there to receive your doctorate degree, what that's going to feel like for your children and for your parents and for all of us as Indian women cheering you on and lifting you up and saying, you know, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of this journey that you chose to take. And this is being a warrior today, right? When we get that education and that's what my mom said, you know, that her grandparents told her, you know, we no longer can carry bows and arrows and you know, fight, you know, in battle like that. We have to fight with our education. And you know, and I know Shailene is running this show, and she got her master's degree, and she fought hard to get that degree, you know, at UCLA. And so, you know, it's just, to me, it's just like, man, there are a lot of women that we can look up to that have paved the way. And so who was your role model? Like who is somebody in your life that is a role model to you?
For me, I think it would be, I mean, obviously that'll be my mom, hands down. She raised me after my dad died in 1985 by herself and everybody around her. My dad was one of the old-fashioned type of men who my mom didn't have to work. He did everything. He took care of the entire house. And she just stayed home and took care of the kids. Well, after he passed away, she gained employment. Yeah, I think she did a couple of years before he passed away, but you know, she's 79 years old and still working today. She's a bookkeeper for our housing office. She works 410s. Just this thriving in life and you know, and I learned from her, failure isn't an option. You know, you get up every day, you function, whether you want to or not. You know, you always try and look your best and do your best. And so I think for me, it would be my mom. And then second would be obviously Tori. She had to grow up with me. She saw everything I went through and the path she chose in life. I couldn't be more proud and honored of her accomplishments. She's been, you know, research all over the world. She studied abroad, 18 countries now, and you know, still paving the way. You know, she's just amazing. And so when she calls me every day and checks on me, like, Mom, did you do your work? Mom, how'd you do on your test? Mom, you know, tell your kids to start behaving themselves. Or she'll call them personally and like, you know, you better suck it up, you know. It's calling her brother and sister, like, you don't get to be lazy. You get up and help. You get up and do your homework, you know. So she's kind of a second mom to not only me, but her siblings.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. How about you, Maria?
I'm so going to call Tori now. But no, I would have to say my role models in my life, there's numerous. I have a huge family, huge support system. If it wasn't for my dad, Francis, on my biological side, he's traveled so many places and accomplished so many different things. Not only a very humble, elder, respectful man in Indian country. You know, I want to be able to show and prove that, you know, we could be part of that change. And so without him and my dad, my other dad, Ray, and my mom, and she just retired. They both just retired. So it's kind of, they're living the life right now and just kind of, you know, helping us along as kids because, you know, we do have a huge family. So without all the aunts and uncles behind me, being able to learn off of them and, you know, we called my grandma the general before she passed, and she's she was always just manning the whole family and living down on the river. And she shared so many stories with us about how when the dam was built and they lost so much land because it was flooded because of the, the situations that happen with dams, and we lost the salmon, and learning that history and the culture with our people and how much we have lost from the formation of colonialism. It's amazing. But being able to take who we are and our history with our ancestors into that perspective of our future, it seems only right to be able to go get that education, be able to grow internally, externally, throughout the communities and our Indian people. It seems only right for us to do our parts as Native women nowadays in this day and age to be able to go to college and get that degree and, just grow off one another, because there's nothing more than I can emphasize is, we learn things every day. And that's what my passion is, if I don't know something, I'm going to find out and I'm going to find a way. But, my grandma, I would have to say, is the major role model that I've had, because she was a tiny woman, but I have big moccasins to fill there. And I can only hope that I can do her right and justice, because she was amazing.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. I know. And, one of the things I think are one of the reasons why, I didn't finish school right away was because my dad, he was always like, I see all these Indians, they go away and get their degrees and then they come back and then they don't know who they are. And they it's like he always felt like college, changed them, and they became they thought like white people are they were colonized the way they're thinking. And so that, I think he scared me, and I didn't want to change. So I think that was one of the reasons why I took so long to get my degree, because I was afraid that that education system would change who I was. And my dad was so concerned about that. And so, but I think by the time I got my degree, I was so grounded that they couldn't change me if they wanted to. I was who I was. And, I did that for my mom and dad, and they're my biggest role models. And, they're same age, 73 and 74. And my mom's still working. She's still the cultural director for the Coeur d'Alene tribe. And, my dad's still on the gaming commission for the Colville tribe. And, you can't stop them. They just got in a wreck, and, they're so resilient. And it's just like, they just watching them my whole life. And, in our house in this Spelum, we used to have up to 24 people living in that log house. We took in anybody and everybody who needed a place to stay. And that's just the way that my parents were. That's the way they raised us. And, that's our way. And I feel like, they grounded me in my culture. And, and I remember being a young person and going to youth conferences, and Howard Rainier. I remember in 7th grade, Howard Rainier's like, if you're not going to drink for the rest of your life, stand up. And I was like, oh, I'm going to stand up, and I stood up. But he changed my life that day. I was like, yeah, I don't have to drink just because everybody else is drinking. I can do different, and that he was like, I remember he changed me that day. I was like, wow, this guy's powerful. I want to be like him. I want to inspire people. I want to help people. I want to, help our kids. And I was a kid, but I could already see my friends who didn't have parents, who, were struggling because, people couldn't take care of them. And so that was what motivated me to try to be better, and make good choices. And, so, and of course we all make bad choices. I made a lot of bad choices throughout the way, but you know, we all learn from our bad choices. And so, you know, I think, you know, all of, you know, I'm just super grateful that you guys came on today. And I just want to, if there's any last words that you want to share, I just want to give you that time right now to just share if there's something you wanted to share or say to anybody.
For me, if you're pursuing your degree, whether it be a 4-year master's, doctorate, raising kids in a family, or you're doing vocational with a trade or want to get into the unions, you know, there's always resources there to help you. You for one, you've got to want it, and you got to push yourself every day, even when times are tough, and have a great support system around you. I'm always around. A lot of people probably don't know me, but I'm always here to answer any questions to help. I've become that person. I help who I can when I can, if not every day, every other day. And you know, there's some chapters of my life that I'm not quite ready to reopen yet, and because they say when you can talk about something without crying, you've healed. I don't think I'm there yet, but maybe someday, and then I'll share the rest of my story with you all.
Awesome. Thank you, Joni. Any last words, Maria?
That's awesome. No, well, things don't happen overnight. Just set your goals, focus, and if you get sidetracked, recenter. There's lots of us women, Native women out there that, you know, are going through the same things, and we don't know what one another's encountered within their own experiences. And, you know, healing is one of the biggest issues for a lot of us, because, you know, us as Native people, we're taught not to really share and talk. And now all of a sudden we're all sharing and talking, and, you know, it's evolving into something better. So, you know, we just got to roll with the punches and get back up when we get hit. So it's just life does throw punches at you, but there's no giving up. We can't give up, because we have a lot more things to accomplish as Native people.
Yeah, most definitely. Awesome. Well, I just want to say, Limlem Sinchaspaus Talichas, thank you from my heart for joining us today, ladies. And I hope that, you know, people are inspired to, you know, just sign up for school. Just do it. It's, you know, some people are scared, but just do it. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
So I guess we can be the Nike. Just do it.
I know too, like with me, you know, I failed a couple classes here and there, you know, and I had to retake them. I had to appeal my financial aid probably 3 times, you know, but at the same time made the dean's list 6 times. So it comes in waves, and you just have to deal with it best you can.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Native Wellness Institute Power Hour. I hope that you share the post so more people can be inspired. And thank you, Maria. Thank you, Joni. And have a great day today.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.